Hi there, welcome to the latest news and discussions within the Noah Presgrove case. Recently, Brooke Bounds Carter has spoken out with her side of the story, what she knows of, what she's being told in regards to Noah Presgrove and what happened after the shower scene. You know, the original story to our understanding was after the shower, Noah went to bed or, attempted to go to sleep. And we had the debacle where he wanted to sleep in one of the girls' beds, didn't work out. Then later we heard from Jack in that Partners in True Crime interview that Noah also attempted to sleep in Logan Jernigan's bedroom. That didn't work out, so then he walked off to cool down. And then he never returned back because somehow, someplace, he died or possibly murdered. What's changed since? What has been added on or changed? That's what I want to show you today. Because we've looked at it from certain perspectives, we also need to acknowledge it from the other sides and what they may know of, and try and get to a full circle when it comes to working out what truly happened. So welcome to those that are currently here in this live premiere. Be sure to share your thoughts and opinions, reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. And by the end of this video, be sure to let me know your thoughts on the matter, whether you agree or not. Is it true? Is it false? Drop a comment down below under this video. You will also find a pinned message with additional links if you do want to support this channel at times of uncertainty. Let me just explain that to you right now. At this moment in time of me recording this video, unfortunately, the Wi-Fi internet connection is down and dead. And whilst 4G is possible, it's very slow, impractical, so it's pointless. I'm able to make this video right now because I've got screenshots which are offline. I don't require the internet for this video when making. However, when uploading it, it may or may not come tonight, if not tomorrow. So this is kind of like pre-recording in case you're wondering. Hopefully I can get the video out by tonight. It might not be the same live premiere schedule. It all comes down to when the Wi-Fi is turned on. So it is a mess and it's happened quite a few times. Let's be real. Over the last month or so previous, I've been screwed over many times by the stupid technology, stupid screen recorder, as you're fully aware of when getting the new device, upgrading that, stupid Wi-Fi connection letting me down many times, and also being heavily attacked and many false claims being made about me, and people with certain obsessions about me still to this day ongoing. So a lot is going on. But as said, down below in the comment section, if you do want to support this channel at times of uncertainty, there is a few links there. Credit to everyone that still watches and those that give ideas, questions, video suggestions and all of that too. And I can't remember if anything happened last night. I think, yeah, shout out to Badger Life, very good individual, and for their support on the channel, that's much appreciated. So I just wanted to put that out there so you're aware of the ongoing situation. If you do want to catch up on recent coverage by me, previous videos on this case and maybe some other bits and bobs, top right corner, there'll be an I symbol. If you go there, click whenever, you'll find the drop down box menu and then you can see the full playlist and all the other stuff you need to catch up on. Now, I guess the only other important thing to address, acknowledge right now, I know there are certain people out there very concerned and worried about the well-being and safety of my hair, right? Don't worry, it's all under control. I know some people have little obsessions and gay obsessions about, is this hair real or not? Why does it look like I've just gotten out of bed? Am I Dracula or something? No, I just finished a workout and exercise not long ago. Wait, what does that mean? More photos? Oh no, not again, man. Well, tough shit. It is what it is. At the end of the day, the humans that can't stand the photos must be conflicted with their mind compared to what's going on with their body when it comes to constantly going in that cycle of viewing or consuming something that they hate. Make your mind up, piss pot. Okay? You gonna be a good individual? I guess we'll see. Anyway, put that aside. Let's focus in with Noah Presgrove. Just a brief backstory as to where this came about from. A few nights ago, I did a particular video, I believe, to do with the shower situation, where we actually looked at a screenshot with what Carter Combs had to say previously about her being present, Jasmine Milan being present, assisting Noah into the shower and holding him up or making attempts to if he did fall over, okay? But then we heard that extra detail. One of Noah's best buddies joined in, got into the shower. Why, how, and did anything really happen? Carter says, well, we assisted, but not like what you think. But why do girls need to be there in the first place if a buddy of Noah's was present? Why couldn't that other buddy help Noah in and assist themselves? At the end of the day, anyone can assist if they want, but I guess if you're just taking it in mind, the situation with Noah, the environment, clothed or unclothed, you got Carter Combs, a girl, helping Noah, making contact or not when holding him up, let's just say, and then you got Jack Newton, the boyfriend to Carter Combs, on the sideline, watching it happen or unaware of it? Was there any mind games, eye for an eye, being played? Who knows? But during that video, the live premiere chat was very useful because Brooke Bounds Carter was present to share her side of the story as to what happened after that. So what I'm going to do right now is show you those screenshots. We're going to read it bit by bit, and maybe the odd other comment by people if there's any questions. And if I can analyse or respond on the spot, then I'll do so. Without further ado, let's begin. Here is the first screenshot from the live chat replay. Just know that if you used to go back to my video to do the shower situation, some extra details, the live chat is still present and documented till this day. So you can see it for yourself, which is a good thing. These screenshots are in the correct order of how the conversations played out. Some things are blurred out with that red line only because it's not quite relevant to what we're focusing in on, just to make it easier for you to see what's most important, which is visible. You can see Brooke Carter there. I'll zoom in if possible. Can you see Brooke Carter with a profile picture? That is the real Brooke from the looks of it. And that's like another example photo of the individual. You could ask yourself, who is this person and why would they know more than others? Especially if they weren't there at the party. What makes them know more than others? Well, Brooke Bounds Carter is a long-time friend, almost family, but not by blood, to Stevie Howard. Stevie Howard, the mother to Avery Combs, Carter Combs, okay? So we're being close in that way. Any discussions, news, first-hand accounts could have been passed over between them in the background, as well as potential video footage of certain things. So you're kind of getting it from the horse's mouth, but it's more second-hand information. Kind of like when you had Stevie Howard, Sarah Long acting like cheerleaders online, stating things as facts or events, not because they were there to see it, but that's what they've been told by Jack Newton or the odd other person. It's not good enough, I guess some people could argue, but let's just work with what we've got. Now on the right-hand side, it's just part of the thumbnail in case you're wondering. You got Noah Presgrove there with the black shorts on and the hat. And this would have been taken Sunday night at around 10:30 p.m. onwards. Because the girl by the side of Noah reaching over with the white shirt is supposedly Caden Pressy's cousin. And Caden basically took this video footage clip to show to his mom, Alicia Lee, that she's okay, she is safe. Considering that Caden's cousin was of a much younger age compared to other party goers, not even the age of an adult from what I'm aware of. I think maybe around 16 years old or so. Now, they came down by their own choice, but, you know, I just wanted to give a bit of backstory there in case you're wondering the significance of that photo. It's just trying to tie it in with Noah's whereabouts and what he was supposedly doing. And some of it could be considered a bit shocking or eye-opening, and we'll get to that in just a second, but be sure to stick around. So, what do we have first? Sarah, shout out to Sarah, says, what if they showered him on the front porchway with the garden hose? As Caden said, the front porch was wet when they left at 5:20-ish, when they were first notified of Noah's death. Well, that's the problem, Sarah. It wasn't 5:20. In terms of partners in true crime, I believe, Caden Pressy said at around 6:30 a.m. when Renee Millan arrived. And when things were being moved about and collected, from firearms to beer cans being cleared up, from what Caden said, around that time, Caden saw the wet patch on the front porchway. So it wasn't 5:20, it was like an hour plus onwards. And the reason why that's important is because it was earlier on when Noah's death supposedly occurred. And because of the climate, the weather out there, possibly being quite dry and warmish, if there were wet patches earlier on from being hosed down, it probably would have evaporated by the time of when Caden saw the wet patch on the porch, thus meaning the actual wet patch that Caden saw could well be more recent and further away from the timing of Noah's death, making it not as relevant. But that's just my thoughts, okay? So, Brooke Carter says, no, it wasn't Jack that got into the shower. Julie says, who was it, Brooke? Jam sandwich. Brylan Sweat, right, Brookie? Supposedly, Avery Combs, or Avery Howard, recorded Jasmine Millan and Carter Combs. Is that so? You'd be able to detect it, right, wouldn't you, by the voice? But in terms of the footage, what certain witnesses have seen online in the past, no one really highlighted who was behind the camera or whose voices showed up, only that it showed the back of Noah, not his face, and he was kind of hunched over. That was pretty much it. I'm guessing that footage was recorded before the other guy stepped on into the shower with Noah. But if it was Brylan Sweat, why? Why did Brylan Sweat need to jump into the shower with Noah around the same time? Could this indicate indirectly that Brylan was in the side-by-side? That can't be possible. We've got to take in mind the timing of the side-by-side rollover, which supposedly at 2:40 in the morning, that's the time of when Caden Pressey was asleep. And so was Isaac Rojas, Brylan Sweat, Mikey Lair. So, whilst yes, a range of different people may have needed a shower at the party house before settling down to go to sleep, if Brylan was already resting and asleep, I don't quite get that. But then again, people have the different routines. Normally you would have a shower, you may brush your teeth before going to bed. Not that you go to sleep and then at some point wake up and think, actually I need to go and have a shower or something like that. You get what I'm saying? So we need to acknowledge that to an extent. I mean, it's interesting that Noah was the one to have a shower primarily because of being dirty and having a bloody nose, even though that's not really acknowledged enough. And Caden has referred to it because he's seen the footage. It's surprising that the others that may have seen the footage haven't acknowledged the injury to Noah's nose unless they feel it's not that important. But an injury is an injury. Blood loss is blood loss. I think it all needs to be highlighted. It's a part of the timeline. But yeah, interesting how Brooke Carter says it wasn't Jack Newton that got into the shower. At the time, it was a fair assumption to think it was possible when Carter Combs worded it as one of Noah's best buddies. Best buddy, best friend. Well, that would be Jack Newton. Yet Brooke is saying it's not Jack. If it's Brylan Sweat, or somebody else, I've never heard them referred to as Noah's best friend. Have you? So that's the first thing that stood out. And it's interesting, I mean, some people could say, why is Brooke Carter specifically saying it wasn't Jack in the shower? What about all the other guys' names? How come they're not being defended? Well, primarily it's probably because in my video I did question, could it be Jack Newton that stepped on in if it's the best friend? So Brooke is simply directly responding back to my question and setting the record straight. In terms of Jack Newton himself, he never mentioned anything about being present at the shower or joining on in. But equally, no one else has really come forward about joining in with the shower. We may have heard rumours in the past, in the odd little snippet, talk, reference about it. Maybe the odd article what we read, but no true name given. And for that full clarity, it would be good to know, wouldn't it? Just in case it could open up a new lead or it could tie up a loose end. And with Avery being present, that's even more eye-opening in a way. Jasmine Carter Combs just stood there and Avery thinks it's a good idea to record it. Is it because Avery doesn't have respect for people's private spaces or intimate moments of some sort? Think, oh yeah, this is really good, I'm going to record it. Why? If Noah is drunk or possibly in a vulnerable situation and not quite there with it, recording him without his consent, oh, but it's okay because it's a female doing it, but if the roles were reversed and people would get, up themselves, backs up against the wall, take in mind, the actual group of people may not have an issue because they're all friends at the time, having a good time, some drunk, not quite thinking clear. But still, it's just something you take in mind in general, at least for the outlook of the general public and how they would see things. But why would Avery need to be present? Because her name has never been mentioned with the shower situation. Was she there to observe Noah in a certain way or to check in on what the other girls were doing to Noah? You better not be doing anything to my Noah. It depends how you look at it, right? So let's just move on. Skippy says to Robbie, my point being, they were so concerned about Noah in the shower, but doesn't appear they had the same level of concern making sure he was found a safe place to sleep, if not in a bed. Yeah, I guess you could argue that if Noah has been in a side-by-side rollover accident, he could be somewhat injured, especially if it's his nose and he's a bit disorientated and drunk. Oh, we'll give him the special treatment, VIP treatment to the shower, make sure he doesn't slip or anything like that. Got to make sure. And then when he goes to bed, you know what? We'll make sure he's got somewhere comfortable to sleep. Okay, you can't sleep in my bed, but why not sleep on a chair? Or let's get some pillows, make it a bit comfy. Unless by then Noah's not quite sobered up, but became more conscious and didn't need the special treatment anymore. It depends how you look at it, right? And you could also say to an extent, the level of concern, there was more concern with the shower situation, washing Noah or making sure he just didn't slip, at least, no physical contact, let's put it that way. More concern and safety about Noah in a shower, more so than when Noah wandered off and didn't return back. Should we go searching for him? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, it's normal for Noah to wander off because he normally comes back. Fair enough, because he's normally drunk. But on this one occasion, there must have been more concern though firsthand earlier when Noah was drunk and from that side-by-side rollover. We've got to make sure that Noah doesn't stumble or fall over in the shower. But by the way, it's perfectly normal and okay, and there's no need to worry if Noah does wander off, drunk, disorientated, and heading east towards the highway. It's not like anything's going to go wrong there. I think it's more hazardous, or just as hazardous, being outside in the dark, early hours of the morning, being drunk, in the middle of nowhere, rural area near to a highway and railroad tracks, just as dangerous as being in a shower where you could slip, trip and bang your head and cause some kind of bleeding internally, externally. Both can be dangerous if you're in a vulnerable way. But the party goes, some seemed a little bit more concerned about the shower part rather than Noah walking away towards the highway. What's that all about? The only thing I could think of is by then when Noah walked off to cool down, it's because he was more conscious then and there wasn't as much room for concern. Oh, he's not disorientated now. He can walk, he can talk, he can do all that. And there's always a chance that Noah at some point could have protested and said, no, I'm fine, I'm okay. I don't need any extra help. We've got to take it in mind. Brooke Carter does say there are videos of it all, even after the shower. And obviously the real question is, what were those videos after the shower? What else was recorded and why? Because the more footage out there, closer to the timestamp of when either Noah wandered off or at the time of his death, is very critical in understanding what was the final few moments, seconds, minutes, hours of Noah, how did he appear, who was around him, what was the atmosphere like, psychological responses by humans in general, and the body language shown. So it's okay, Brooke Carter saying there are videos of it all. Has Brooke Carter seen those videos? All of them? Some of them? And is there a reason as to why they're not public? I know you could argue and say, well, if it's a shower situation and Noah isn't fully clothed, if not clothed at all, then why'd you be posting something like that online? Yeah, I do understand, but then equally, why did the Daily Mail and other news articles broadcast some of the party footage of Noah with his pants down as people were writing on his lower back, upper bottom area? Oh, it's because they blurred it out. Okay, see, there's a way of protecting one's privacy to an extent. Blur out the sensitive parts. So if during a shower, that can be blurred out, why not? You know, there's no harm. Now, what else is mentioned here? Hardy boys, says to Sarah. I always thought the porch was wet because Georgia was throwing up on it and someone probably hosed off the vomit. Now, I believe that's spelt wrong, but that's not an issue. Georgia, with a G, supposedly the name of Caden Pressey's cousin, and that's not me leaking the name. It has publicly been mentioned before, whether that be through news articles or on Partners in True Crime, when it might have been Jack Newton that referenced Caden Pressey's cousin's first name, right? Georgia. And then there was another girl as well, but I can't remember their name. Correct me if I'm wrong, if Georgia is another party goer. I'm just sure that's the cousin, because we saw in a previous article references to the cousin throwing up somewhere. Okay, is it a big deal? Not really. But then again, the timing of it is very interesting, because at what point did it occur? You know, 2:42 a.m, the cousin of Caden's was already taken home safely, made it back. So it was before 2:42 a.m. earlier, when the cousin would have still been present or getting ready to leave, let's just say, with a friend. At what point did she throw up? From the time of when she throwed up to 6:30 a.m, a few hours passing by, but still the wet patch remained on site of the porchway. I thought it would have evaporated. Unless the person vomited, it wasn't washed down, then an hour or two later, if not longer, then it was washed down. I guess it depends, doesn't it? I'm just thinking of the weather out there. Are you going to dry up quick? Are puddles going to evaporate fast because of the climate and that time of the season? Let me know down below in the comment section, especially if you're from the area. Yeah, Brooke Carter says, we saw that. There are videos of it all, even at the shower. Hardy boys, Skippy. It's obvious he was sleepy and also wanted to go home. They didn't help with either of those needs. I mean, wanted to go home but too sleepy. How does one get back? You know, assisted, driven back, given a lift. That's one way. Or just given a place to sleep at the party house. But we've got to take in mind, if it's at the party house, Noah was perfectly okay with sleeping on the floor when it came to Saturday night. So why should it be such a big issue when it comes to Monday morning? Why should Noah get the VIP full-on king-like treatment when supposedly you got other party goers, whoever they were, to what extent, who joined Noah in that side-by-side vehicle when it rolled over? Yeah, Noah appeared injured from his nose, bloodied and disorientated, and maybe tired, drunk. But what about the other partygoers? Who were they and what condition were they in? You know, why should Noah be the only one that receives this and that? Why not the other people too? That's not being negative. Maybe it just comes down to popularity contest. Noah's more popular, so Noah is more important to some people. And if Noah's got past history, positive encounters with certain partygoers, such as of the other gender, they might be more likely and more willing to look out for Noah compared to other individuals present who may be just friends or acquaintances or strangers to some extent. But then again, it's limited, isn't it? When there's so much concern or care here for this, the shower, but not so much afterwards. It depends how you look at it, really. So, yeah, he appeared sleepy. I mean, we haven't seen video footage of Noah being sleepy or disorientated, but once again, if we saw the extra footage, it could open up some new avenues of discussions. The next comment here, Skippy says to Brooke, since you're on chat, what was Noah like in the shower? Brooke says, if he wasn't his energetic self, then how after the shower was he running around teabagging certain people that were asleep on the couch? Even Robin Smith, the ant, said he was running around naked. Me personally, I've never really heard that before. There might have been some people that have made references, or viewers that might have heard snippets and whispers about the possibility of running about unclothed. Now, if Noah truly was running about with no clothes on, and that was straight after leaving the shower, does that mean he wasn't wearing any clothes in the shower? Because if so, it's a bit more intimate, that, and it means Carter Combs, without saying it in a dodgy way, would have had full view of everything in sight. How would Jack Newton feel about that? Would he be jealous? Because we've seen how he's reacted in other situations where not much has gone on, but he's overreacted. But if basically how it's worded here by Brooke is that Noah was full of energy still after what's happened previously, and he, despite being drunk. In terms of teabagging people that were on the couch area asleep, that would consist of either Caden Pressey, Isaac Rojas, Mikey Lair, Brylan Sweat, those guys. So what, Noah only teabagged males, not females? Does anyone have any screenshots of Robin Smith, the ant, confirming that Noah was running around naked? You know, just some screenshots, conversations from Facebook. If anyone has it, leave a comment down below, or like a reference to some extent. It would be helpful. What else do we have here? Victor responds, yeah, I remember someone said he was running around naked. Hardy Boys, was he teabagging Caden Pressey? Skippy, Brooke, do you know how long it was between the shower and when he walked away? Brooke Carter responds, it's been said some have it on video. Right, on this occasion, Brooke has not seen the footage herself, but she's receiving second or third party information to say that there is proof of Noah running about unclothed, teabagging individuals. Why would that have been done at the time? Because people thought it was funny to record it. But a video like that, was it ever posted publicly online? Yes or no? Has anyone ever seen the footage? If you have, be clear and leave a comment down below to an extent. If not, could this footage have been deleted? If anyone tried deleting videos from their phone, social media, or is it still somewhere? It's not, you know, people could say, why would you want to watch a video like that? It's so inappropriate, but unfortunately, it's just trying to understand the body language of Noah closest to when he did walk off. You know, the closer the footage to when he walked off, that's most important. Skippy says, thanks, Brooke, for being cooperative. Victor, you guys cracking me up with teabagging. Got some tea there as well. I mean, I don't know if anyone drinks tea. I don't personally. Jam sandwich. I thought Jack got teabagged. Brooke Carter says to Skippy, I'm not positive exactly how long. I know once Noah got dressed, Carter made him some ramen noodles and yogurt. And I know some Americans will be absolutely triggered by my pronunciation. I'm sorry, we do things differently in this country, okay? But for those that wanted me to say it, we got ramen noodles and we got yogurt. Is that better? Yeah, everyone happy now? Okay. Brooke Carter also says, no, Jack wasn't in the living room. Where was he then? What was Jack Newton doing at the time of when Noah was running about teabagging people? If that can be cleared up, that would be good to know. Because we've got to try and understand the timing of this teabagging. Caden Pressey was woken up at 2:42 a.m., then went back to sleep around 3 in the morning, whether that be at 3:20, as said in the private interview, or 3 in the morning itself, as said in Parts in True Crime. Obviously, Caden would have had to have been asleep when his teabagging occurred, because if he was awake, he would have seen and probably maybe protested against it, who knows. He probably would have made reference as well in one of the interviews, but he didn't, so he must have been asleep at the time. And then at that time when it was happening, Jack was elsewhere. What was he doing? Skippy says, but the autopsy didn't find anything in his stomach, so that's odd. And I guess when it comes to taking in ramen noodles and yogurt, how long does it take to digest normally? And how long did it take for it to come out the back end? Did Noah, before walking away, go to the toilet, possibly? I guess at the scene of where he was found, there was no fecal matter, there was no leakage there around the back. And the autopsy supposedly says nothing in the stomach. What do we have here? Gary Morrison, gonna have to Google teabagging. I haven't got a clue what it's about. We'll get to that in a second. Victor, I'm sorry, but who would eat ramen noodles with yogurt? Lol, I heard autopsy his stomach was empty. Could Noah have emptied his stomach at the party? Is his digestion quick enough? Brooke says there are additional things that weren't on the autopsy report. Now, why would that be the case? If you got an official autopsy report, doesn't everything need to be documented and mentioned and nothing hidden? Unless I've got the wrong end of the stick. Now, I'm guessing with what Brooke is getting at here, additional things aren't on the autopsy. That would mean the stomach contents. But if the autopsy has stated that there was no stomach contents, wouldn't it have been better just keeping it blank and not mentioning it at all? Because it could come across more so as a lie. And if it's seen as a lie directly, what's mentioned on paper kind of makes things questionable and why they're being that way. But furthermore, I guess another thing Brooke could be indirectly referencing is what? The fingertips, the fingers being shredded to the bone. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but that's how it's been worded by people in the community over and over again. And yet on the autopsy, it didn't mention it like that. But maybe it's just not been included. But why are certain details like this not included in the autopsy report? Is it because it's sensitive? Is it because it would help solve the case? And obviously people don't want that. Why? You got an official document and you're going to make it public. You might as well include everything on it. It just seems a bit stupid. Brooke says to Garoy, don't recommend searching for it. Right. So, in the comment section right now, be sure to let me know what you think in regards to additional details not being included on the autopsy report. What would they include? Leave some bullet points down below. Let's respond to Gary immediately. Some people may wonder, why is it so important that we understand the definition of teabagging? Well, I'm going to explain that in just a second, but be sure to stick around. So in terms of where it originates from, I'm not quite sure, but where I first saw it myself was in video games. This is just an example to make better sense of it. You could be playing a first-person shooter, you kill an enemy or get a revenge kill, you then walk up to the body, stand over the corpse, then you squat on them and then stand up, squat and stand up. Some people do it fast, other people do it slow. Some people squat really low down, so certain areas will be making contact or touching the person's face, lips, or wherever you're doing it on the person's body, right? I guess it's one of the ultimate signs of disrespect, doing an inappropriate action on someone who may not be quite aware or conscious of what's going on. Now, when it's done in real life, yes, it becomes more serious. So if Noah Presgrove was supposedly doing that to another party goer, they might have been asleep. Were they aware of it at any point, or did anyone else realize? I'm just trying to work out, because sometimes if you do something inappropriate to someone and they're aware of it or become aware, they might fight back. They might not take it too kindly. They might not be in the right mood. You do it to the wrong person who doesn't have a good sense of humor or is in a mood, they might do something back. It could escalate. You never know. With it being captured on record as well at the time, even if someone wasn't fully aware of it taking place when they may have not been conscious, the video could have been played to them later, but in the time frame of when Noah was still alive. So yeah, we've heard about Noah. He's a prankster, popular, funny, this and that, all good. But sometimes the joke, the prankster, it can go too far, or you do it to the wrong person. Because I've got to try and understand who was at the party at the time. Was there anyone there that could have been rubbed the wrong way and it backfired? Possibility. Now, in terms of teabagging, the other reference, obviously, is if you had a cup, a mug, and then you actually had a tea bag, a bag full of tea leaves or whatever. You'd grab it, put it in the cup or mug, dunk it in for a little bit, and then pull out, shake about, and then back in, something like that. But obviously, when it comes to an actual human doing it, like how I said, in this case, supposedly Noah doing it to other males and being unclothed, makes the situation a bit more compromising. Basically, when it comes to the bells, these, which are basically dangling down below in between the legs, if a person was to teabag someone on a couch, that would be a bit awkward. So you're telling me that, 'cause I'm just trying to work this out on the spot, you've got a chair or a couch like this, and then you've got these, the little ball areas, and you're getting down like that, squatting as low as you can on top of someone's face or head, like this. That's basically teabagging. And you're saying that the bells, what, are touching the person's face, lips, or forehead? I mean, it's you could say it's a bit disgusting, a bit gross, right? Yeah. Up and down like that, yeah. I think that's enough ball play for now. But I just wanted to try and make sense of it because, I mean, maybe if you get one leg up on the side of the chair as you, like a half tea bag, still, some people may have found it funny, and that's why they recorded it. But Noah being quite energetic, is there a point in time where that could have wore off? So you reached a bit of a dip, became a bit tired or a bit sleepy, a little bit vulnerable. Because you've got to try and analyse this energy. How long did it last for? And did it play any role in when he had to possibly defend himself if he did get ambushed at some point or attacked, right? It's worth taking in mind. Let's now return back to continue with the comments with what Brooke has had to say. And you can let me know your thoughts later. Moving on to the next slide here. We've got Brenda. Shout out to Brenda. Hardy Boy said, she did vomit on the porch, they would have hosed it. That's once again another reference to supposedly Caden Pressy's cousin vomiting. But at what time did that occur? And would that water, when washed, washing the vomit away, have remained or evaporated? I mean, there was a wet or a damp patch. You don't have to be completely flooded. And maybe due to the surface area and the material it's made out of, concrete, and how it can be cool. But then again, can it retain heat as well if it's warm? I'm just thinking of the process of the wetness on the ground. How long does it remain wet for? Robbie Taylor says to Hardy Boys, I always thought it was from emptying coolers when Caden started cleaning up melted ice. I mean, you never know. You never know. Brooke Carter says, considering the girls didn't even have a water hose, I'm not sure how that would happen. Now, when we've looked at Street View, or as best as we can, up close footage of the party house and satellite imagery, not once did I see a hose pipe or really a tap. Now, unless it's round the back and we didn't really see footage of that area, Brooke Carter is saying that they just don't have a hose. It's interesting. I mean, whilst, yeah, it may not be like a full-on farm and everything nearby, and I could be wrong for saying this, but when I think of a rural area out there and in a certain temperature and environment, it's probably a good idea to have a hose or some kind of water supply, which can be used with maybe a reel or so. But once again, I'm not an expert, I'm not a farmer, so I'm sure some people will have to say a few things about that. Skippy says to Robbie, that could have been the reason. It wasn't a lot of water from what I remember reading. Yeah, true. Jam, how do they not have an outside faucet? Brooke Carter says to Robbie, exactly. Right, so Brooke Carter seems to agree that the likelihood of the wet patch on the porchway, what Caden saw, was actually from emptying cooler. Yeah. And as well, I'm going to be honest with you, the front porch right next to the bloody door, I don't think a person, I'm just basing this off references to previous claims that that's the spot where Noah was hosed down, his dead body and stuff. I don't think people are going to be doing that up against the bloody doorway when there's people inside of the party house. It's a little bit in sight, isn't it? Especially if someone saw a reflection or looked through a window or opened the door and, oh, there's a body being washed down right nearby. Who's knocking on my door today? Someone who's not alive. Yeah, I just don't think that's the case there. So it could well be a cooler. Brooke Carter says there is a faucet, but they didn't own a water hose. Right. A hose. What, like a hose pipe, I guess. What else, Robbie? To me, the simplest answer is usually going to be, well, whatever. And the next line we move on to, Skippy. Brooke, do you know where Noah's other items ended up? The wallet, the shirt, hat, other Adidas shoe? Brando, Truth and Justice. Brooke Carter says, Avery Combs, or Avery Howard, had all of Noah's possessions and gave them to an officer and told them that his sister, I'm guessing Madison Rawlings, would want them. From that point forwards, I do not know. So anything could have happened past that point, right? But I'm guessing with Avery reaching out to an officer being open and honest, no attempts made to get rid early, it's worth taking in mind. Now, when Brooke says Avery had all of Noah's things, does that include the golf clubs and the golf bag? Because at least from what I can remember, either Stevie Howard or Sarah Long were protesting with confidence that in between Saturday to Sunday or so, Noah took the golf clubs back home to his place of living and put them in the back of his truck, and may or may not have brought them back, but other people have responded, I think maybe Caden, and said, no, Noah brought them down to the party on Saturday and they remained on site all the way up to his death, and then they disappeared. So it'd be interesting to know about that. Victor, doesn't everyone have a water hose at their home outside? I know in California we do, but maybe not in Oklahoma. Brooke says to Victor, not 20, 21-year-old girls that do not give a shit about their yard, lol. But the reality is, what age were those girls back then? 19, 18? Not that it really makes a difference, I get. I mean, younger people, they're probably not going to think of all this and they can't really be bothered, and especially with responsibilities too. And it's not like they're running a farm, are they? So, yeah, I understand. And to say girls, well, yeah, more than one present at the site, which would be Carter Combs, Avery Combs or Avery Howard, and Logan Jernigan, I guess. Skippy, and that's interesting. His family didn't get them back, so wonder why that officer didn't return the items to the family if there's no evidence. Brooke says, I have 10 now, but I'm 40. Oh, what, 40 years old? Do they look 40? No? Julie Beck, Victor, when I was younger, I didn't have a water hose outside. Brooke says, I know some of the stuff has made it back to the family. They have said they have some items. Well, in terms of what we saw, like a recap from Partners in True Crime, Robin Smith, Ashley Chadwick basically said the only item that was returned back were the black shorts. Everything else has not been returned back. But then a counterpoint from a supposed ex-boyfriend of Casey Smith, Casey being the mother to Noah Presgrove. Supposedly Casey received more than one item, which involved the flag shirt, which Noah wore or took down to the party, and some other items, and then she passed it on to a person she knows or once knew, which is a bit weird, isn't it? Because other family members of Noah aren't aware of those items, but supposedly Casey is. But then again, with that breakdown in communication, with Casey supposedly being alienated and left aside during the case of Noah, maybe she felt, why should I have to share it with those people when they've left me out in the past? Why should I? Maybe. Would have been good though if there's a little bit more confirmation though from the horse's mouth there for certain items. So let me know your thoughts there with, the bits and bobs like that. And is this the last screenshot? Yes, Brooke Carter says, I truly do not know if the flag shirt was. Honestly, it never made a difference to me asking them that. So So I guess Brooke says, it didn't seem to come to my mind of importance at the time to ask about it. So Brooke truly doesn't know what happened to the flag shirt, even though others have claimed, and Sarah Long, of all people, sister to Stevie Howard, that the shirt was cut up into pieces, given out to other people as a memento. Yet from what we've heard, counterpoints of an individual that knows Casey Smith, or close to her at some point previously, received that shirt and it wasn't cut up, it was in okay condition. Clearly, there appears to be a bit of a breakdown in communication. Some know more than others. What I do want to say first and foremost, if you are finding this video somewhat interesting, important, make sure to hit the like button and share this video so more people hear about it. It is important to try and work out what happened to Noah, whether that be leading up to the death or after. In this case, it's after the shower situation and beyond, to work out what was Noah doing. Did he do anything which could have caused or triggered a reaction from somebody else and it escalated? And in terms of these energy levels, kind of interesting considering how he was after the side-by-side, and after that, oh, back to normal again. Is that before or after eating the ramen noodles and yogurt? I'm just thinking, sometimes you refill yourself, re-energize, and get back up, continue on. What are your thoughts? And besides eating food, what did he have to drink at the time when food was being served up? Was it water, more alcohol, some kind of flavoured water, juice, whatnot? I think it's important to also acknowledge that from how we've heard it worded today, and maybe some previous points too, depending which way you look at it at a certain time, this all sounds like that there are party goers and friends, whoever that may be, it could be a Carter Combs here, it could be a Jasmine Millan or someone else, who actually care and to an extent concerned for Noah, want to look after him, care for him, maybe because it's a bit of a popularity contest, and maybe because they've been close to him previously in the past, let's just put it that way, compared to other male party goers. But still, a level of care, looking after him, making sure he's okay from that perspective. But previously we've seen the other perspective of not concerned enough, not taking it serious enough, like with the Snapchat by Jasmine Millan. But you can't be too hard on Jasmine Millan when the likes of Caden Pressey even backs her up, and even Sarah Long in terms of it being normal for Noah to walk away. That seems to get forgotten about quite often, so it's always worth bringing it back to light. But in terms of a missing individual, time passing by, but no attempt made to report him as a missing individual when you know that he's supposedly drunk, unless if it's true that when Noah finished in the shower was running about with no clothes on and he was energetic. Was he a bit hypo or what? Did he cool down before he truly went off to cool down? I wonder. Was it a mix of different emotions, a roller coaster, from being a bit down, disorientated, to being really high and energetic, to then being maybe a bit frustrated that he didn't get what he wanted with the bedroom situation, so he decided to cool off, up, down, a little bit erratic, still drunk or sober? Did Noah ever sober up at any point? I know it said that he had blood in his alcohol system and all that, and he was still over the limit, so maybe he was still drunk. I was trying to work out, if someone's in a vulnerable way or a vulnerable place, then they go off into the dark and basically distance themselves, isolate themselves from people that actually care about Noah. I'm surprised no one followed after him. I mean, if people, whether that be Logan, whether it be Avery, whether it be Jack, to have last seen Noah wander off, such as going east, obviously there must have been outside near to the front porch to see Noah walk off and go in a certain direction, but not enough to trigger a response as in, right, we need to close the distance, we need to follow after him. I'm going to walk and go in his direction just to make sure he doesn't wander off too far. It's just worth highlighting, because I guess common sense would make you think, well, if you got someone walking off into the dark and they're drunk and there's a bloody highway and a railroad track up ahead, it doesn't sound too good, does it? But then again, you look back to the Riley Strain case. The guy was told to leave the bar because I guess of either being drunk or causing some disorder of what sort. And then when leaving, his fraternity brother's friends remained at the bar drinking, but supposedly the odd friend did follow him when he was being escorted out. But then I guess there was some conversation where Riley said, no, I'll be okay. I'll walk back myself to the hotel. So that friend remained with the fraternity brothers at the bar. So at least there was an attempt possibly made to follow Riley out of the building to escort him back to the hotel. But still, the others didn't make that attempt. But still, some effort was applied. In this case, with Noah, not so much. But I guess it all comes down to how Noah was in the past. Oh, he normally walks away when he's drunk. When he normally walks away when he's drunk, is there normally a room for concern about him before that? Giving him a shower, helping him in or out, giving him some food as well. Was there anything different this time round? Besides Noah normally walking away, was there anything different in the moment or just beforehand? Because there seems to be moments where there's a level of concern or care by some of the other partygoers, maybe more so the females than the males, girls. So if there was a little bit more concern, there's a bit more of an atmosphere or a feeling, a connection with Noah this time around compared to previous times, then Noah walking off on this occasion isn't the normal occurrence, is it? And it's okay to say Noah does normally wander off, but how many times does he normally wander off within a day or within a space of a few hours? Because from what we've heard it worded as, with what Caden said, relaying it on from what Jasmine Milan told him, is that Noah wandered off between 2 to 3 in the morning, which would also mean that Noah then must have walked off afterwards with all the other events after, because 3:30 was the timestamp which Jack gave when Noah cooled off. So what, 2 times within a short space of an hour or so? Constantly walking away, multiple times needing to cool off because he's getting frustrated. It doesn't sound like a comfortable place to be. Does it all stem back from Noah not getting what he wanted, which was giving a lift back home? Makes you think. Anyway, to refer back to Brooke Bounds Carter, it had to be acknowledged today with what she's had to say, because we can't just be one-sided with the other stories. This video could make me a target. This video could lead to people questioning me and coming up with more conspiracies, and people jumping on me, harassing me, emailing me. All kinds of dodgy stuff can happen, but tough shit, full balance equals being the black sheep, the villain. It is what it is. It's a standard procedure to it all. The good thing with what Brooke Bounds Carter did was when explaining it and answering questions, this time wasn't sarcastic or argumentative, just simply answered. And what she typed, the language and wording was pretty much clear. It goes a long way. So, with that all being said, hopefully you found this video worthwhile. We'll see what happens next, and hopefully I can get this video uploaded by tonight. If not, it'll be the next day. My name's Warlight Raf. I'll see you next time. Goodbye and good night.